more fucking chips again with this shit. We're like 24 episodes in and it's still going. People are still watching. People still give a fuck. I still give a fuck. Is this ever gonna end? Judging by the bags and boxes of potato chips that have taken over my home and my fucking art studio, seemingly not. So we're just gonna press on and hack our way through it and allow it to be what it is in the world. Now, if you're watching this episode on the date of its debut, which is March 8th, 2023, then you simply must know that there's mere hours left to get yourself this piece of incredible memorabilia, the Sucklord Guinea Tea, which was featured in the episode Italian Red Meat Flavor, where I reviewed the red meat flavored potato chips by Lay's, which weren't very good, by the way. But in this case, you can actually have a piece of psychedelic ephemera, which is this magnificent bespoke gravy stain. And it has sort of like mellowed into a more subtle orange, but nevertheless, it's still an incredible piece of memorabilia that you simply must make a bid on if you want to feel included in all of this and keep something in your home to remind you of all the delightful times you've spent with the Sucklord while he reviews potato chips. This is up on eBay. The link is in my stories. Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. Now, for today's bag of chips, we are doing the second episode of the little subset of Japanese potato chips by the brand Calbee. These bags of chips were shipped to me from Japan by my good buddy, the Toy Whisperer, also known as Datadub. So thank you, Mr. Datadub, my man in Japan, for hooking me up. And today we have, again, there's no English on the bag, but my research tells me that this is charcoal roasted chicken skin flavor. And from what I'm gathering here, they're going for a izakaya kind of vibe, whereas izakaya, in case you don't know, is sort of like a combination of a bar and a diner. It's like a type of place where you go and you sit down with your friends and you drink, usually beer or sake, and you get a bunch of shared snacks, a lot of yakitori, things of that nature. And they're really going for that vibe here. And I can tell because, although I can't read the Japanese, there's this mug of beer here, and my understanding or my assumption is that it's extolling the fact that these particular chips go well with beer, which is going to be problematic because I've actually been sober for the last 2 months. I love to be an absolute drunken disaster during the summertime, and in order to sort of counterbalance that, I go absolutely dead sober for the winter months, and sometimes that extends into the spring, and I happen to be doing quite well at that right now. So I hope by consuming this bag of chips that I'm not risking the temptation to break my sobriety. Fortunately, there's no beer handy, so I don't think it'll happen. So let's open this shit the fuck up and see if it indeed invokes those glorious days when I was in Japan getting fucked up and eating skewers at the izakaya and hooking up with some girls too, I must say. Great time. All right, enough chattering. Let's see what these chips taste like. Not a particularly distinct smell. These chips are a little smaller. Supposed to taste like charcoal roasted chicken skin. Like a shove a bun. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always doing these on an empty stomach, so sometimes I confuse my hunger for appreciation. Be subtle here. I'm not getting punched in the face by any particular strong flavor. Sort of settled in. Sometimes you gotta stop and let it sit. It does have a suggestion of chicken. Oops. Just pretty good. Most of these chips that try to taste like meat really never really quite pull it off. But these are all right. Not a very complex flavor. I gotta say, if I wasn't prompted by the image on the bag, I'm not entirely sure I would know that these were supposed to taste like chicken. They're a little greasy. These are all right. Again, what I've appreciated with these so-called only 2 bags of Japanese chips that I've had is that they stay consistent. You know, they don't kind of fail halfway through. Taste the same all the way through. Most of the time, a lot of these other fucking Lay's chips, they start out tasting like what they claim, and then they just collapse into like a sweet, generic barbecue flavor. These are all right. Would I want a beer now? Of course, I always want a fucking beer. Yeah, I would definitely have a beer right now if it was sitting there. But I gotta say, as much ranting and raving and extolling as I have done and all the sort of expectations I've had for these chips, they're okay. They're okay. Nothing too bold. But now that we've got these 2 more sort of subtle and ordinary bags of chips out of the way, the next one's coming up. We're going to be a lot more interesting. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you next time.